Hi, my name is Mark. I'm a partner consultant at Scape Digital. At Scape, we help businesses reach their digital transformation goals. And today I'm going to talk about how you can use order management to really focus on your strengths as a retail company. And I'm doing this together with Ivo from Commerce Tools and Richard from rb2. My name is Mark. I'm a partner consultant at Scape Digital, and at Scape we help mainly retail customers reach their digital transformation goals, and that's something I've been doing the last about 15 years, mainly working in fashion retail companies in the Netherlands, and always trying to make the best combination between a lot of different store locations and the digital channels. So that's my area of expertise.
I'm Ivo, Head of Integrations at Ecommerce Tools. That means that I'm responsible for all things to do with third-party integrations like OMS systems, payment, all that stuff, and also the partnerships that come with that.
I'm Richard, partner of rb2, currently fulfilling CTO role. rb2 is a development agency based in Greater Amsterdam. We're specialized in implementing e-commerce solutions. My expertise is architecting environments, complex environments for our customers, and therefore we currently fulfill nice customers with nice solutions.
And your development teams are here in the Netherlands or?
Yeah, good question. We have our headquarters here in Greater Amsterdam, where we do all our guidance. Guidance means like business analysts, system architecting, lead development, delivery management. But we have 3 development agencies, centers, currently in China, in Portugal and Nigeria, where we combine those resources with our teams here in the Netherlands, and then with this hybrid team we develop our solutions for our customers.
All right, great. Cool. I think for today one of the main questions is when to start with an order management system and how this can help you as a retail company to focus on your strengths. But I think a question to start with is actually, for example, Ivo, a platform like Commerce Tools, how would this fit into your, how can I say it, like a maturity journey as a company? Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So with Commerce Tools, first of all, for the people who don't know it, it's a completely SaaS-based, like API-based solution. So it means there's no front end, nothing like that, right? So what we see with customers that want to start doing more advanced things or have a lot of different channels, different stores, all of these more complexities, then Commerce Tools is a great solution to implement. But like you said, it's typically something we see that it's definitely one of the more advanced solutions, right? Because you have to start, maybe not completely from scratch, but you have to start with implementing all the different front end and different channels that you have. And the benefit of doing that is that you get a lot of flexibility.
Can you name some channels we're talking about here?
I think it's everything, right? It's API based, so you can do the traditional like online web things like websites, the more traditional commerce stores, but also POS solutions, things like mobile applications, right? Those things we see. And we even have customers that actually build very cool in-car commerce environments using the headless nature of the platform and the flexibility that provides.
All right, and the headless nature, what do you mean with that?
That means that like most solutions, the more traditional commerce platforms, they ship with basically everything in the box. That includes all the front-end components, right? So the HTML and what it looks like. And that is nice if you have simple requirements and you just want to sell a few things. That's easy to do. But when you start thinking at more complicated things, having that front end is usually limiting you more than it's actually helping you.
And what do you mean by limiting more?
Well,
can you name an example of that?
Yeah, what we see is like upgrades, for example, right? Upgrades are a very common thing that systems like that have to deal with. So that means you have to, the security patches, all that kind of stuff. And what we see with a solution like Commerce Tools, you don't have that anymore because we take care of all of that. We just have an API contract that doesn't change, right? It stays the same all the time. And then deploying a new version, we do that like multiple times a day sometimes, right? And then a thing like an upgrade that you have to do with the more traditional platforms is just a thing of the past. And that opens up a lot of time and capacity to actually build cool things. And especially in today's day and age with all the pandemic things, click and collect features, right? It's something that's very easy to add on top of a Commerce Tools implementation without having all the overhead of a traditional solution.
In addition, I can also mention that, for example, with the front ends, it's what you see with traditional e-commerce environments. It's very difficult because of their monolith environment that to alter it, to modify it. And what we have with Commerce Tools is a total flexibility with our front ends. That means, for example, for one of our customers, we implemented a price configurator where we have built up a special module to configure all the settings, which calculates a price, and then going to the next step in the checkout, and that is perfectly to realize, to set up with Commerce Tools. If you want to do this with more traditional environments, it's a headache. So that's one point I want to mention.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think that entire part of the order capture, right, especially like you said, the CPQ, and those configure, price, quote things, I think it's definitely something we see customers struggle with in the more traditional setups. But also, like one of the topics, right, with order management, I think the new capabilities that people want to do, you need to have that supported not just by the, let's say, the front end or the capture part, but it's also the back end, like the click and collect things.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice you could give there?
I always say that's where it starts to get interesting, as soon as the order is captured. Because
we don't agree.
No, I totally get that. I see that I also within retail companies, I think that the sales part of e-commerce or the order capturing, as you just called it, I think that's something we really have quite a lot of control of. The way we get customers into the funnel, the way we get them to make the conversion or to make the actual sales, and then to take in the order. And this is also something which works in the same way, I think, in a lot of different areas of retail. What is very different for you as a retail company is that you have a lot of stores when you compare this to, for example, the pure players. And in my experience, I see quite often that the total strategy of the pure players is trying to get copied, or that retailers who are starting their journey of digital transformation, they are trying to copy that. And I think that for the order capture, that is most of the time it's quite okay because it's a lot of standards there. Customers are used to that. So, for example, the card on your website is always on the top right. You can copy that. That's no problem. When it comes to fulfilling orders, trying to copy the strategy there, I think it's a weak point for you as an organization if you try to do that as a retail organization. This is because the pure players, they are set up with, let's say, huge warehouses. They can deliver very fast. They can deliver very cheap. They have a lot of volume in their landscape. And for a retail organization, this is often quite different. So what the main focus is how do you get your stores and your warehouses, actually the fulfillment network you have there, how can you really use that in the best way to make the smartest decisions in the retail environment that you specifically have. And that means that you have to start connecting all the stock to all the different channels that you have. That also means that if you have all the stock connected, that you have to use all these different locations for fulfillment. And that's where it really starts to get interesting.
And does that mean that stores will be responsible for shipping things then?
Yeah, Yeah, for sure. So that's really something that you have to start doing as a retail organization. So stores are going to be responsible for shipping. A lot of the time you can use the downtime staff hours for that. So it means you don't need extra people in the stores to do that. And when you use the stores for shipping, it means that what I already said is that you have extra locations available for fulfillment. You can start to do all kinds of cool things when talking about order distribution. For example, what you can do is use all your sales data in your OMS to try to calculate on which or the specific items, how the specific items are performing in which locations. And then what you can do is obviously ship items to customers from locations where they don't sell and leave them where you think you are going to sell them. And this way also you put less stress on the merchandising department of your company, for example, because this is always a big hassle in retail companies that you have to start moving merchandise around during the season. And this is really something an OMS can help you with during the season already by cleaning out, for example, broken size ranges, things like that. All with the main goal to leave items where you think they are going to sell and to take them away or to fulfill them to customers where you think they should not be.
Do you also see this also happening together with an e-commerce environment, or is this sometimes also without an e-commerce environment available? No, for example, is it possible that you see at retail companies that they use also the OMS used for leveling the stock between the retails without even having a digital channel, or is it?
In this way, I see the e-commerce environment purely as an order intake. So there's different channels for order intake. This can be the e-commerce environment, websites, web shops in different countries, maybe under different brands. So you have a specific product selection on those websites. But what is also important is that what Ivo already said. It's very easy to start up new front ends, and this can also be a front end which you run only in the stores, where you connect all the stock together in the stores, where you can have a tablet or a big screen which is used as a digital sales application, and this is also e-commerce, right? So with e-commerce we think about the traditional web shop, but setting up an in-store channel like that is also e-commerce in that sense. Actually, it is really very good to do that because with the traffic in all the cities around the world declining sometimes, you really want to service that customer who arrives in your store anyway. So it would be terrible to have them in the store but not being able to sell them something because it's not in stock, but it is in stock in another location in your company. And that way, it's a must-do to use in-store channels as well. So in that sense, if you see the in-store channel not as e-commerce, then it's really also used without a digital or a web shop channel.
It can really optimize your revenue of your total retail.
100%, because what happens is a customer comes in the store and you have to sell them no. And you can say maybe go to the website and buy it later on, but that's all a chance of loss in your total funnel. If the customer is already there in the store and you can sell them immediately and deliver them later, the sale is already done. So that's perfect, obviously.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Mark, with the ongoing COVID situation, did you see any huge benefits with retail companies who have an OMS implemented versus, let's say the retailers without any OMS?
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's actually something we've seen, and at the moment all the stores closed. There was a lot of different retailers made the shift or at least the ones who were able to, made the shift from mainly having the weight of your order distribution in the warehouses to having the weight of your order distribution to the different stores. Because the stores were obviously closed, and there were a lot of still all the employees, they were working there, or at least some of the employees were working there, and there was a lot of stock available in the stores. And what you saw then was that all the sales through the digital channels, it really went through the roof. And there was a lot of pressure on the warehouses, which was very unexpected pressure, to make sure that the fulfillment of those orders was done correctly. And retailers with an OMS, they were able to shift their distribution rules in such a way that the orders that stores got more orders to fulfill. And that means that if you have, for example, 50 stores and one warehouse, it makes that you have 51 locations, which in that particular period were dedicated locations for e-commerce fulfillment. So it's very, very smart to have such a system in place for being able to make a switch like that. And I think that's on the one hand for shipments or for, let's say, sending to the customer, but also the other way around for returns, it's the same. Because there's a lot of returns, the volume is also going up there. And with the returns, you can do all kinds of different smart things. For example, if you have the returns reported on the website before the customer is going to send it back, and the customer has to print their own shipping label, you can also use the order distribution algorithm vice versa. So it's then an order return algorithm. And what you can do is use the information which you have available about sell-through figures, carbon dioxide emissions, all kinds of different smart things you can use in this return distribution to print the specific label for the customer for the return package. So it does not always have to be the warehouse, but it can also be a store location where the return can be processed by the employees there.
Very nice.
I do think one of the harder things with OMS and e-commerce integrations, like with commerce tools in an OMS system, is that what you want to prevent is that people see online that something is in stock, right? And then they go to the store and then, oh no, it's not there anymore. And then sure, it might be in some other location and there's some cool things that you can do to ship it anyways. But the hard part, I think, is really to keep all these things in sync, right? Not just the order status and saying, okay, where did it go? Where is it, did you ship it? But it's also the things like what is the different inventory levels in all the different stores. Do you have an idea, like as a commerce tools partner, to how you would bring all of these things together?
Yeah, definitely. What we usually do when we're implementing an OMS or implementing commerce tools in these complex, small environments, is that we have an integration layer where we integrate the OMS, where we have the virtual stock, but also we connect EP system, the POS, so we know all the sales within the stores. Of course, we implement the digital channel via commerce tools, and there we know what stock level is available, and we can synchronize it to commerce tools, so that there is not more salt than there is virtually available for commerce tool. And this is all integrated via what we call our RB2 integration commerce layer. This is an event-driven architecture where we receive all the orders, and then we push it via towards the OMS or commerce tools to keep everything in sync. With the benefit also of this integration layer is that we have the possibility to realize a very short time to market. Usually retailers think, it's complicated. Yes, it is complicated, but we've done it many times before. And also with all this knowledge and all the libraries what we have built up in the past, it is for us very easily to connect all the dots on a short time period, and therefore bringing an OMS in a short time period online.
And what other dots are connected when you're talking about connecting the dots?
Yeah.
From the OMS and the e-commerce channels, what other systems are involved there?
Yeah, usually a typical landscape is like what I've mentioned. There is, in most cases, the heart of the system is like the ERP system, where we that could be a Dynamics or SAP kind of application. Now the OMS for managing all the orders is connected. For the digital channels, we in most cases as Ecommerce tool partner, we select and put Ecommerce tools in front of all our storefronts, and then we have the POS. We have mail campaign applications. We have sometimes when there needs to be build up a profile. So we have like customer data platforms where we put all the orders to build up profiles for our customers, so that we can literally build up a persona on a user, and then with campaigning application, which we also connect, then can offer personalized offers for the customers. So this is a typical landscape for RB2 to implement, and it makes me always happy if we get an opportunity to fulfill it.
Yeah. I think that goes back to where we started, right? Is that part of the maturity of the customer and the entire idea that the solution is supposed to be like a composable, right? You can add additional things when you need them. OMS is one, but it could be marketing, it could be search, personalization, all that kind of stuff. And I think that's one of the benefits of a more modern approach to commerce, is that you can start adding these things whenever you want to. And because of standardizations through maybe integration layers or APIs, those things become a lot easier to do than in other cases.
Yeah, I think it adds a lot of flexibility to your landscape, and I think that the flexibility is also one of the key words here, right? Yeah. We've seen we talked about also with all the recent developments regarding COVID, is that the flexibility is really needed, because who would have thought like 2 years ago that all of your stores could be closed from one day to another, and how cool is it, or how nice was it for all the retailers who were able to make a shift at that time, versus how big the problems were for those who couldn't. So I think that adding the flexibility and also preparing for sudden changes in your landscape, I think it's more true than ever, because before we were talking about customers shifting from desktop to mobile phones, for example, when you talk about front ends, and then we thought those changes were big, and that flexibility was needed to catch the changes there. But I think COVID really underlined what real flexibility what the real required flexibility in your landscape is.
Yeah, definitely. And what I also like about the modern architectures with all the SaaS solutions, it's very easy now to select a tooling which is specialized in doing their job. And for e-commerce, now definitely Ecommerce tool. Now for OMS, there are a few partners, but also for adding a campaigning system, CDPs. It's all so flexible now. But the one thing missing in this landscape, they all offer, let's say, modern tooling with modern APIs, but they need to be integrated. And as RB2, we can now easily integrate those. So you can really set up a cool, nice mock architecture for our customers with all the flexibilities, like Ivo mentioned, of their upgradable and maintained solutions, and with all those benefits. yeah, it's.
I think these solutions, like mock solutions, right? Like the easy part I always say is like to get the data in or out of the system. That's the easy part, right? Because usually there's APIs for that, or there's mechanisms to do that. I think the harder part is usually that business logic in the middle, right? That translate the data from an OMS or from a commerce platform into something that makes sense for the business. And that's, I think, what you mentioned as well. How do you make that uniqueness of your organization actually work?
Good example. Yeah, for this also, we have our mapping tooling. So we have on the one hand, for example, now the OMS, but this has a different, let's say, data model than is available in, for example, the ERP or in the commerce tools environment. And with the mapping, we can easily transform data. We can add data, enrich it, or remove data, so that this will be easily connected to each other and solve it. But yeah, for this there needs to be something, let's say the glue, the oil in the middle,
which orchestrates
the flow of all those orders, events, of what's happening within the toolings.
Yeah.
Mark, one thing I was wondering is like, I can imagine, like, we've been talking about all the technology and how you can link all these systems together, but I assume that people are just as important in all of this, right? So how do you deal with that with people that are probably used to just sit around like waiting in stores, right, before an actual customer shows up, and suddenly you put them to work to send orders and ship things? Like, how does that work?
We'll have to give them a little bit more credit than just having them sit around and they do something. But you are right, there is downtime staff hours which can be used to do the order fulfillment, as we talked about earlier. One of the main things I saw working very nicely was rewarding them to do the actual order fulfillment. An example, what you could do is, for example, the channel where the order was placed. This can be the Ecommerce channel or another store. Give them, let's say, 70% of turnover, and give 30% of the turnover to to the store location or the employee who is doing the order fulfillment. And that way, instead of having them sit around, they can already work towards their turnover goals, which every store employee or every store as a total has. And that is really very important for them. So having this incentive this way, which contributes to their goal of realizing a certain turnover in a day or in a week. I think that was one of the main drivers of having this total system work very nicely in a retail company. And Richard, what about some tips from you regarding implementing these changes we talked about?
Yeah, I can imagine that everyone who's listening now did this podcast is think, whoa, this is a real big impact for our organization. And a lot of services, a lot of new technology, and they're already getting headaches we don't do that. But as an agile company, we try not to do big bangs. We want to add value every day, build every day, let's say, services for our customers, which can add them value, and try to release it as much as possible, so day by day. So my golden tip to the customers: don't approach it too big in one time. So we can easily implement it day by day, and chunk by chunk, services for our customers, which makes it for them very easily to oversee it, and also for all the employees to get them behind you and implementing, as what you also mentioned, an OMS. With rewarding, for example, what you mentioned, that's as a nice benefit for them. So don't take it too big.
Avoid the big bang.
Avoid the big bang, and implement day by day.
Yeah, I think that's the big part, right? It's the technology should be the enabler for that. So the more flexible things are, like e-commerce tools, but also things like an order management system. So the more flexible though they are, the easier it is to keep things smaller, you know, and do it more gradually and learn what works. And then especially if you don't forget the people actually in the store, or you know, to make sure that you make the most of this total landscape and solution. I think that's going to be more helpful for anyone. Yes.
Definitely,
Yeah.
totally agree with you.
Cool.
Yeah, it's nice.